Hello, my name is Jacob Robidoux and I'm a wellness coordinator for Project Healthy Schools. Today I'm going to be working with you on our lesson 1 about SMART goals. The lesson objectives for lesson 1 include students being able to recall the 5 Project Healthy School program goals, describe the benefits of eating healthy and being physically active, and using the SMART goal format to create and analyze a short-term personal health goal. Materials for this lesson are simply the SMART Goals handout and PHS SMART Goals slip, which is available for download with this video. Vocabulary words for this lesson include habit, personal goal, and strategy. Hello students, welcome to Project Healthy Schools. As I said, my name is Jacob Robidoux, I'm a wellness coordinator, and I'm going to be talking to you about lesson 1 today. Lesson 1 is about SMART goals. Project Healthy Schools is a program to help you learn about healthy eating and physical activity. This is our first of 10 lessons that we will be delivering online. And this is a really important lesson because this is where we're going to build the foundation to setting some goals for ourselves to change some of our healthy behaviors. Okay. We always begin each lesson. We're big believers in physical activity in the classroom. We want to get some blood moving. So I want you to stand up wherever you are, give yourself some space, and we're going to go for about a minute and just move a little bit and get our blood flowing, and getting some blood to the brain really helps us learn. Okay, so everybody standing up, everybody have a little bit of space around them. All right, we're going to move for about a minute here. So we're going to start right now doing high knees. We're just going to stand here and march in place. Let's get our knees up nice and high. Even just a little bit of moderate activity makes a big difference. It's a lot better than just sitting there and trying to learn that way. So let's keep those knees going. Don't worry, we're not going to do this the whole time. I'll tell you when to switch. Keep it going, keep it going. It should be fairly easy, hopefully. All right, that's about 30 seconds. We're going to go to jumping jacks. Ready? And jumping jacks. Keep it going. Out and in. Should really start to feel the blood flowing now. Our brains are going to be ready for the lesson. Keep moving, keep moving, keep moving. And stop. All right, go ahead and have a seat or get comfortable again from wherever you're going to be viewing this lesson. Okay, the first thing we're going to talk about today is healthy habits. All right, think about what a healthy habit is. I think the idea of being healthy sometimes is something we only associate with adults. All right, we hear a lot of adults that are on diets or adults that want to change their behaviors and want to be healthy. But really, the fact is it really starts when you're young. If you learn these healthy habits when you're young, you won't have as many struggles as you're older to try to stay healthy. So that's kind of what we're going to be talking about today is how to start building healthy habits now as a young person like yourself. So what are some benefits of being active and eating healthy for kids? Think to yourself, what are some benefits of that? Well, healthy living can help you earn better grades. There's a lot of studies out there right now that show that being healthier and getting more physical activity help our brains work better. So it'll help us in school. When you're active during the day and you're healthy during the day, you sleep better at night. And that helps you be more awake and more alert while you're in school. Also, of course, helps with getting strong bones and muscles, which is important. Our bodies are very important. We're going to have our body for our entire life. And if we don't take care of it, it breaks down. But if we keep it strong, we're able to have a healthy and active and a good life for longer. Helps you feel energized. Of course, it can help you be a better athlete if you're into sports. Obviously, exercise and good diet helps with that. And really, I mean, where it really comes down to is overall our moods and our overall feeling of, feeling good is a lot higher when we are healthy and active. So we eat well and we sleep and we get lots of physical activity. So really what it comes down to is building those healthy habits now. So habits are something we carry into our life. A lot of the habits that you're forming now at your age are things that you're going to carry on in your life. They could be good things or they could be bad things. So we definitely want to start building some great habits as far as our health goes, so that later in life, we are able to maintain those habits and have a great and fulfilling life because we're a lot more healthy and we have those habits built in place. First thing we need to talk about though, what is a habit? That's one of our vocab words for today. So what is a habit? Anybody have any ideas? Maybe talk if you're watching this with someone else, or if you're there with the parent, maybe ask them what's your definition of a habit? Well, the definition that we are going to try to use today from Project Healthy Schools, it's pretty simple. It's something that we repeatedly, naturally do often, sometimes even without thinking. Habits are oftentimes, if a habit is really ingrained in us, we don't even think about it. It just kind of happens. And those can be good things and those can be bad things. And that's, I think a lot of times we associate a habit with something negative, but habits can be great. Habits can be, hopefully we have awesome habits that we don't have to think about eating healthy. We don't have to think about wanting to exercise. It's just something that we consciously do all the time. All right? So let's think about what's an example of a bad habit. I think that's an easier one to think of. Like I said, most of the time we associate this with negative things. What's an example of a bad habit? Think about one. All right, the ones that come to mind for me are little things like biting your fingernails, okay? Staying up too late, maybe watching too much TV, and I'm sure you have some of your own habits that you would like to break. You know, a big one now with this generation and in modern times is, you know, the use of technology and the use of our screen time and our phones, and the habit that we always have of checking that, maybe checking a social media account. Those are things that if we don't keep in check can become a negative thing because they take up a lot of our time. And when we're doing that kind of stuff, we're not being physically active. So it's important that we keep in mind those things. But we want to focus on the good habits today. And we're going to talk about how to build those. Like good habits include things like drinking plenty of water. You know, a lot of people don't drink enough water every day. And if you get in the habit of drinking constantly throughout the day, that's really going to improve your health. Maybe getting some stretching done in the morning. Getting up early to make sure you have time to eat breakfast. Those are all examples of good habits to get into that are going to benefit your health. Now, keep in mind though, being healthy isn't something that you can just do once and be done. So, yes, maybe I had a great day. I got up early, I ate breakfast, drank plenty of water, I got enough physical activity, I ate well, I didn't use a screen a lot. And let's say I do that for one day. Well, that's awesome. But a habit is something that needs to be, and a habit in being healthy is something that needs to be done over and over and over again. And that's the idea, is to build the habit so that therefore we can do that for a long period of time and get the most benefits of being healthy. So we're more likely to adapt a habit if it's related to a big goal. All right, and that's kind of what we're going to be talking about today is building a habit is easier if we have a motivation to do it. If we know that we need to kind of do something continuously to get to something that we want, it's going to be a lot easier for us to develop that habit. Like think about goals you have. Like if you have dreams of doing something in your life, hopefully you do. Whether it be something right now or whether it be something in the future. Maybe you're on a sports team, you know, and you sit and you think about how good you're going to do in the next game, or you're going to practice to get to that point. Well, the most important part of this is that it's great to think about things, but it really does take action to accomplish our goals. So the first step is to think about it and define what it is and how you're going to get there, but then you have to do it. That's really important. Maybe you are a musician and you want to learn to play an instrument. Well, thinking about playing an instrument is great, but it's going to take practice and lots of repetition to be able to learn how to do it well. All right, so today we're really going to be focusing on a personal goal, but we're going to focus that goal around being healthy, because that's what this program is all about, is teaching young people to be healthier, to take the things that they learn in our lessons off to adulthood and do a great job at that. But a personal goal, for a definition, is a desired result that a person thinks about, plans for, and commits to making happen. All right, and it's personal just to you. I might have a different goal than you. You might have a different goal than your friend, and that's okay, because it all kind of comes from the things that are important to us, the things that we want in our life. So each person's personal goal is going to be different. All right, achieving goals takes time, but it's easier to do in small steps. And that's kind of what we're going to talk about today, is finding, realistic steps that we can take to get there. Sometimes if we set a goal, and there's nothing wrong with setting a big goal, but if we don't talk about how we're going to get to that goal, it makes it a little bit harder. Here at Project Healthy Schools, we have our own goals, and these are the goals for our program. This is what we want to accomplish. This is what we're trying to teach you. And within our program, we have these 5 goals. Goal number 1 is to eat more fruits and vegetables. All right, I think anybody that wants to improve their diet and wants to eat a balanced diet, it's important that we include a lot of fruits and vegetables in our diet. Our next one is to choose less sugary food and beverages. To really cut back on sugar, because sugar's been proven in many ways to not be very good for us, and for a lot of different reasons. And we'll talk about that later in one of our lessons. But we're really going to try to cut back on sugar. That's one thing that we're really trying to help you guys learn. We want to eat less fatty foods, things like fast food, things from processed foods that aren't high in nutrients and high in fat. We're going to try to keep an eye on that. We're going to teach you over the course of these lessons on how to identify foods that fall into that category. We want to be active every day, and this is probably one of the most important goals that we have. We want to get at least 60 minutes of at least moderate physical activity. It doesn't need to be super strenuous, but we want to be active and moving, up on our feet. Maybe not just standing, but walking, moving for at least 60 minutes a day. And hopefully you find time to do that yourself. And we want to spend less time in front of a screen. That's our 5th goal. Now, to me, if you will naturally spend less time in front of a screen if we're more physically active, because it's kind of hard to be on a screen. If you think about when you're on your phone or when you're on a tablet or anything like that, you're usually sitting down, you're usually sedentary. All right, but being physically active or being more physically active and getting involved in physical activity is going to keep you off those screens. So we kind of have those 2 goals kind of help each other out, I think. So once again, eat more fruits and vegetables, choose less sugary foods and beverages, eat less fast and fatty food, be active every day for at least 60 minutes, and spend less time in front of a screen. Those are our 5 goals. So I want you to take a minute now and think, pair, share. If you're there with somebody, or if you're there with a parent, or if you have anybody close, I want you to stop this video for a second, and I want you to ask, what's the difference between a short-term and a long-term goal? So maybe discuss that with a parent or with a friend, or if there's somebody with you, and talk about what the difference is. So if you need to pause me for a second, go ahead and do that and discuss that. Okay, hopefully you had a chance to kind of discuss what the difference between a short-term and a long-term goal are. Short-term goal is something we want to do in the near future. It could mean today, it could be this week, maybe this month, or even this year. It could just be something that's going to happen in the short term. And the short term is kind of relative to whatever you decide it could be. You could have a goal for the day, which would be a very short-term goal. And even a goal for the year would be a short-term goal. But a long-term goal is something that we want to do further into the future, usually more than a year from now. And a lot of times, short-term goals lead to long-term goals. So we want to set some short-term goals that build up to what our long-term goal or our overall goal is going to be. Can you think of an example of a short-term goal or a long-term goal? If you're there with that same person, maybe discuss that real quick. What's the difference, or what are some examples of a short-term goal or a long-term goal? All right, so today and through the rest of the PH lessons, we're going to be focusing on setting a short-term personal goal using the SMART format. All right, so as I said, the title of today's lesson is SMART Goals. And we're going to talk a lot about what that actually means. SMART goals are a way of setting goals that it's going to really help us guide how we set them to make sure that they're going to be the most effective as possible. All right, and so SMART is an acronym. S stands for specific. Think about what that means. We want to make sure that our goal isn't too vague. We want to make sure that we specifically outline what we want to accomplish. The more specific your description of the goal, the better chance you'll get exactly what you're trying to get. Specific goals will include exactly what you need to do to reach the goals you set. The M stands for measurable. We want to make sure that we can tell if we accomplished our goal. We want to be sure to identify exactly what we will see, hear, or feel when we reach the goal. We want to break down the goal into steps, and we want to be able to measure and track our process. So we need to be able to measure if we've achieved the goal or not. An example of this would be a vague, non-measurable goal, for example, would be, I want to get stronger. All right, well, that's great, but we want to be a little bit more specific, and we want to make sure that's measurable. So to do that, a measurable goal would be, I will complete 25 sit-ups and 25 push-ups every day for a month. Well, if we did that, we will most likely get stronger and we will accomplish that goal, but we have a more specific way of getting there. The A stands for achievable. Now, it's okay to have high hopes and high dreams, but like I said, a lot of times our short-term goals are the stepping stones to that long-term, that big goal. So we want to make sure that these are each achievable. Imagine you're walking up a staircase to get to your goal. We want to make sure that each step is something our legs can actually reach. If it's something that's too high and we can no longer get to that next step, it's going to really slow down our progress. So it's okay to make them challenging. We want them to be achievable. We want to make sure that there's something that's within our range of capability, even though it may be a challenge, that we can achieve it. The R is for relevant. All right, now think about relevance, I think to me this is the hardest one of them to understand. We want to focus on a goal that makes sense to you, something that's important to you. We don't want to follow what everybody else is doing. Maybe your friend has certain goals and it's kind of what's popular and they're kind of heading in a direction, and that's fine. But what's important to you? We want it to be relevant. It's really hard to stay motivated to accomplish a goal if it's not important to you. So relevant is very important. So it's important that it applies directly to your life and it's something that you really want. That's what we mean by relevant. And our last letter is the letter T. We want to make sure that our goal is timely. So we want to set a deadline. Imagine if your teachers gave you an assignment, but they said you can turn it in whenever you want. Well, some of you probably would take care of it, but a lot of you, including myself, would probably put that off and put that off and put that out, because without a deadline, it's kind of hard to be motivated and it's hard to prioritize your time to accomplish the goal. So we want to make sure we put a time frame on that goal. We want to have some point that we want to get there. I want to get this by next month, by the end of this month, or maybe the end of 6 months. Like we said, short-term goals can be kind of up to a year, so it depends. It could even be something that you accomplish in a day. But we want to have a deadline when we're talking about goals. So that's what the SMART goal concept is. S is specific, M is measurable, A is attainable, R is relevant, and T is timely. All right, now each of you are going to work to create your own SMART goal today. But the goal needs to be regarding your own personal health and wellness. So that's kind of to guide you. We're setting goals based on our own personal health and wellness. Let's again take a quick reminder of the 5 PHS goals. Okay, 1 is eat more fruits and vegetables. 2, choose less sugary beverages. 3 is eat less fast and fatty food. 4 is exercise and be active every day, at least 60 minutes. And 5 is to cut back on our screen time. So thinking about those 5 things, that's where we want to construct your goals from. We want you to look at the 5 goals that we have for our program, think about your own personal health, and think about something you would like to improve or a goal that you would like to reach regarding that.
Let's take a look at the personal SMART goal handout. The directions are: think about a change you would like to make to improve your own personal health and well-being. Write down your goal or 2 in the space below. Once you have written down your goal, check each box if your goal is specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and timely. If it is, work to create a second goal. If not, rewrite your goal in the space below using the SMART format. Let's take a look at the following example. Our example goal is, I will reduce the number of sugar-sweetened beverages I drink to no more than 2 per week. Is this specific? Yes, we are specifically cutting the drinks down to 2 per week, so we can check that box off. Is this goal measurable? Well, I would think absolutely. We can track how many sugary beverages we drink a week. Is it achievable? Well, I would say yes again. We can achieve this. We are setting a goal that we can tangibly achieve. Is it relevant? Well, absolutely. We know that drinking sugary sweetened beverages is not good for our health, so cutting them out is going to be an improvement. But is it timely? What are we missing here? Do we have a goal date to accomplish this goal? That's what this goal is missing. Here's how we could rewrite the goal. I will reduce the number of sugary sweetened beverages I drink down to 2 per week for the next 3 weeks. Now go ahead and take time to pause the video and give yourself some time to work on your own SMART goal.
All right, hopefully you had a good time creating your SMART goal. Now that you've created a SMART goal, let's go over some helpful strategies to help you achieve the goal that you made. All right, but let's start, first of all, that's another vocab word for us. What is a strategy? Well, a strategy is a plan of action to achieve a goal. A lot of times we think of strategy within sports. Each team has a certain strategy that they're going to use a set of tactics to accomplish a goal that they have most likely to probably win the game or beat the other team. Well, you can apply the same idea to accomplishing a goal. What steps exactly are you going to take to accomplish that? That's your strategy. All right, we're going to outline some tips for you, some strategies. First of all, keep your goal setting positive. Remember that what you focus on will be what increases. Keep the focus on what you want to achieve instead of not do. All right, does that make sense? So instead of your goal being something, I will not drink Coke, all right? That would be an example of a negative thing. We want to keep it on the positive, all right? We will choose to drink less Coke or pop. Does that make sense? Try to keep your goals positive. We want to write our goals down. It is very important, and it's a lot of people talk about this, even adults. It's very important that you write your goal down. There's just something powerful about it being written down, and keep it somewhere where you can see it all the time. And then you want to put together a plan of action. That's the next strategy. So write down some steps it will take to help you achieve your goal. What are you going to need to be able to do, and write those things down with the goal. And then you want to stick with it. That's probably the hardest part about accomplishing a goal. The easiest part is coming up with it and writing it down and then writing out some steps. But the hardest part is actually doing it and sticking to it. And I think that's the most important step, and the most important strategy is to find a way to stick to your consistent steps so that you can accomplish your goal. And then when you do achieve it, it's important that you celebrate it. It's important that you reward yourself for accomplishing it. Sometimes it's good for you to give yourself an incentive. All right, if I accomplish this goal, I'm going to get to do this, or I will let myself do this, or maybe your parents can help reward you for that goal. All right, but it's very important because it helps keep us motivated, and we deserve the recognition and celebration of accomplishing something that we've set out to do. All right, so now we've kind of come to the end of our lesson, and we just want to kind of summarize and discuss some of the things that we've talked about. So how does a SMART goal help lead to healthier habits? Something to think about. Well, it should help you focus specifically on what changes you would like to make, and allows you to measure and track your progress, and it also can keep you motivated. What was the most challenging part about creating a SMART goal? And believe it or not, this is a challenging thing even for grown-ups and adults to do. To really map out a really solid SMART goal takes a lot of work and a lot of thinking and a lot of energy sometimes, but in the long run, it's going to be more effective for you. So what's the most important message from this lesson that you will share with others? That's something to think about for yourself. Hopefully you've learned something about goal setting, and you've learned a little bit about, and maybe it made you think a little bit about some of your own healthy habits and what you can do to improve them. You know, some other things to think about are, how are you going to track your progress? Sometimes it's nice to have a visual way of tracking. You know, you could maybe put a chart on the fridge, and for every day that you accomplish your tasks, you could mark it off. Sometimes it's nice to see that progress right in front of you, and it kind of motivates us to continue to mark off more things. So a lot of times visual things are really helpful. Another thing that is always going to get in the way of our goals are barriers. There's always going to be obstacles or something that gets in the way of us achieving our goals. Otherwise it would be easy, and otherwise everybody would accomplish anything they set out to do. So there's always going to be a barrier. There's always going to be something that gets in the way. An important skill to develop is how to overcome those barriers. Some examples of barriers. Say one of your goals was to be more physically active, but you don't like to go outside. Well, what could help you go outside? What is it that keeps you from wanting to go outside? Well, maybe going out there with someone else. If maybe a friend or a parent or a family member will go with you, that always helps. Having someone do things with you is a big motivator. Even if your barrier is you don't like to exercise. Well, another important way to get past that is find something fun. Find something that you like to do that gives you some physical activity. That's important. Yes, not a lot of people like to just go run on a treadmill or just go running down the street. A lot of people do, but there's a lot of people that don't. But there's a lot of ways to exercise. We can go play a game you like to play. If you like to play ultimate frisbee, or if you like to play soccer, if you like to just walk and hike, even just walking and taking hikes is a great way to get some physical exercise. So find something that's relevant to you. That's where that relevant piece comes in. And it's a lot easier to stay motivated. All right, I enjoyed working with you guys today. I will be back with lesson 2 soon. Have a great day.